Hi, Taurus. In Pisces season, the nodes just shifted into your sign recently, the North Node, which means lots of upward movement, which means lots of emotional understanding, evolution, which means taking time maybe during this new moon in Pisces on its way, or during the moon cycles. I said this to Virgo as well, where you can do well with a little bit of structure when there's like a beginning and an end, and a beginning and an end, like the moon cycles. So if you haven't been someone who really pays attention to the moon cycles, or sets intentions, or does rituals, or does something around that time, this is a time where you may feel a lot more connected to that, because you're in a constant like rebirth process. You're constantly right now, for a long while, are, especially this year though, you are in this forward upward movement. But that also means that you're letting go different parts of yourself where you used to be able to do this more, you used to be able to do that more, you used to be able to talk to this person or all of these different people more, but now you're so focused on what's been pulling you forward, and the passion that you have, and the confidence that also goes along with that. There's this huge pull, it almost feels like, from yourself, like from the energy in front of you. And some of you may want to use this in a different way than you've been doing this. You may have also, through really connecting with yourself over the moon cycles, you may find, I think that especially the earth signs, all the signs, but especially the earth signs right now, being refined so much, learning so much, teaching, doing everything, and to a certain extent that all three of you do, and yet at the same time having to build, like everything's happening. So when you have that constant 2-week reminder, even if it's shifting and changing, that's still creating the habit, because they say it takes 21 days. So like 2 weeks is when you really get into it. So if you can constantly do that for yourself, even if that's that 2-week reminder, even if it's something different every 2 weeks that you may need to learn or adjust or shift, you'll be shown that. But also reminding yourself to take time for yourself. Reminding yourself that as these shifts change, you're going to change, and you may already be changing. It may already feel extremely uncomfortable, but yet the lighting and the light that you're under is also softening as well. There's these two sides to, there's always different sides to what's going on, but you're obviously, the side you used to lean on more, it's like a seesaw. You're now not. And you're kind of flipping that narrative. And to anyone else to anyone who takes offense or is triggered or feels like you're taking from them, it's like, no, you're just letting go of who you used to be, and that means that you need to conserve your energy more. You may find that you need to conserve your energy in ways and spend time on things that actually, and not that you're someone to really like overextend your energy, it's more overextending your emotional bandwidth in any situation that you're in. So if you're someone who weighs more heavily on your work life or your relationship life, or those two things are really prominent in your life, and then you don't have like your personal life or the things you like to do in that alone time, it's like, okay, then maybe you need to shift over there a little more. I know this sounds very Libran, but it's also very Venusian too, is learning how to manage your time and where you put more into at this point as opposed to this point. And I think if your personal life is kind of taking a hit, which just means, when I say personal life, I mean like your life with yourself, and if you have kids or the immediate people around you, but that's also still relationship. So if that's pulling you more, those other things you may need to say like, hey, I can't show up the way I've been showing up. I need a little space, or I need to take a step back, which ultimately feels like that may be exactly what that other person doesn't know that they need. And I think that's something you're intuitively so good at, is that when you start to do something for yourself, it actually starts to benefit the other person too. And I think that's what you're up against mostly this month, because you're also realizing where you've been giving away too much of your insight that's not actually ready to be heard. It's like you just need to act upon your insight right now, and then it'll be heard as you roll it out. Because your greatest risk and your biggest leap is, so for some of you, you're really walking away from getting this certain stability that you've always wanted. For others of you, you want this, and that means taking different risks and taking different leaps in your life and getting out of your comfort zone more. Well, life is kind of taking you there anyway. It's just up to you to commit to the adventure and decide how it's going to be, how you feel this month, and how you decide to absorb things, let things go, learn. That's all gonna decide how this completely plays out. And you'll kind of see the rollout start to happen, and then by Virgo season, you'll probably see how it's been and how it's done, and how you're actually no longer afraid to do the constant risk taking, which you'll be asked to do more and more this year. But the more that you do it, the weird thing about it is that you become very secure emotionally, to the point where you almost feel this calmness inside of you. And when you're in that space, you're able to see perfect opportunities. And then we have the bottom of the deck come their way. Jupiter is in Pisces, so it's expanding. Therefore, this time of upward growth is also outward growth. And that takes, as funny as it sounds, inward growth. But inward growth, I feel like, goes like this, where it's bringing yourself to your grounded, aligned place, and whatever that is for you. So having that structure of that 2-week period, I think, will be really crucial and can be applied in many various different places in your life. So giving yourself that opportunity, and I also do think that will create this insane amount of courage to move on from this idea that you can't do it all, or that it all won't get done, or that you can't, or that it all won't get done. And the key commitment here is your emotional well-being and taking care of that first and foremost this month. I think that will prove to be the most effective solution to any problem or issue that you come up against. I think that it will prove to be something that allows you to see how much you've grown, and why then at the end of the month, or towards the end of the month, something very almost magical happens. It's the universe like speaking your language. You're learning to speak that language of your own, instead of what you've absorbed and learned and decided a long time ago, and letting this change really take place and roll out. And even if it's vulnerable and feels weird sometimes, or it feels different, there's this different passion and different life that comes out from you. And I think by your season, in just a couple of months, it will be even more alive, because that's when everything does come back to life. So whatever you've been thinking or ignoring comes into the forefront, even if it's to start something new, or take to do something that accentuates or accelerates this innate desire to be secure and free from financial constraint, and free from what and who you were before you decided who you could be. So these things are coming up so that you can really decide to be the person that you really are, instead of being constrained to what you were just learned, and that's how you did things. And it's taking a total spin around the different aspects of your life, the different places where you exchange your energy and exchange with someone in a relationship, and then also with yourself, and you're beginning to balance it all in a way where it makes sense, at least for the next couple weeks or this month. And then next month could be a little different, but for right now, it just makes sense. Hold on. It just makes sense for you to take what you're learning and take what is being asked of you emotionally and very spiritually, just like, let God handle it. Handle the things that you can't control right now, because what you can control is actively doing and creating. And something I do feel like some of you are going to be deeply, deeply inspired by the end of this month to commit to fulfillment, like more and even deeper, and like very Piscean. And I felt like you guys, you and then Cancers as well, all had this connection, and the moon card came up, which is the Pisces and Cancer sign. And we'll get more into that into the second part. The second part will be in a link below on Patreon. And I think that these, even if it's things that some may deem insecurities, or that you deem insecurities, I feel like the more that they come out now, the more that you just roll with them. And then it just shows you how quickly things can change from like this detrimental insecurity to having so much courage, because, well, so what? What if I do this? Maybe that will offset that. And you're kind of seeing things more as like a game, and maybe that's very Sagittarian and Aries that are coming into your life. But there's that different way of doing things the more you may feel lighter on your feet. And the more that you feel things pulling you and opportunities, or this energy of, could be Uranus and the nodes pulling you to the front and to the top and to everywhere. And it's up to you to kind of be a part of that and take control of it to the extent that you can. Okay, Taurus? I'll see you in the second part, which is in the link below, and also my information to work with me one-on-one is there. And I will see you next month in Aries season.